We'd like to welcome into our midst Srimati Sujata, Member, Right to Education and Child Rights Committee. Thank you, ma'am, for being with us this morning. I now invite on stage the Vice Principal, Dr. Mrs. Nanita Rubin, to introduce our chief guest.
Very good morning, Principal Sir, distinguished guests, members of the Board of Management, my dear parents, students, leaders, student leaders, Cottonians. Annual Prize Day is an important event in the school calendar as it recognizes, acknowledges and appreciates the academic achievers for their focus, interest, and enthusiasm by setting a standard for their excellence, and it also encourages other students to do their best in academics. We are indeed honored to have with us a distinguished personality, Dr. Thimmappa Hegde, as our chief guest for the Junior Prize Day. Dr. Thimmappa Hegde received his training in neurosurgery at the prestigious NIMHANS, and he had also worked there for over 20 years. He has a fellowship in skull surgery from Washington, D.C. He is a director of Narayana Institute of Neurosciences and senior consultant neurosurgeon at Narayana Health City, Bangalore. Dr. Hegde was invited to deliver a speech at an international meeting to Vatican City, where he had the distinct honor of an audience which included the late Pope, His Holiness John Paul II. Apart from being an excellent neurosurgeon, he has keen interest in personality development and is invited by various organizations as a guest speaker and motivator. Dr. Hegde has authored a lot of publications to international journals. The Lions Club of Bangalore recognized him as an outstanding citizen, and he participated in a special exchange program at USA and Canada from the Rotary International. Dr. Hegde has specialized in stereotactic and functional neurosurgery, neurotrauma, neuroendoscopy, and neuro-oncology, which are also his special areas of interest. With his keen interest in spirituality and overall personality development, Dr. Hegde has scaled new heights despite having a very busy neurosurgical practice. Your presence here, sir, fills our heart with happiness, and we welcome you amidst us. On behalf of our principal, I invite you on stage to address the gathering. Thank you.
Professor John Zachariah, the staff, the Board of Management, special invitees, students, parents, I'm extremely happy to be here. When I accepted this invitation, although I have come to Bishop Cotton so many times before, I was in for a treat, which I would like to share just what happened to all of you. We live in a world where we tolerate a lot of imperfection. That chalta hai attitude, solpa adjust madi. But here it was perfection to the core. The meeting started on the dot, and that is so important. The auditorium, the infrastructure, just perfect. You know, so many technological equipment was used, nothing failed. We had a treat of great talent with the students, the choir. The meeting started in a very solemn way. And when you see things going just so perfect, you would like to replicate it in your own world. And congratulations, Principal Sir and the staff, for making this such a great institution and a role model for everyone else to replicate. The principal has specifically called me to make a small message for the parents. I know there are students here too, but this message is for all, but primarily for the parents. If there is any message that comes to me from my work as a doctor in a hospital is not a pleasant place to be. But still, it's a place where we spend most of our life, and it is a place where we have learned so much. What we see day in and day out is a whole spectrum of human suffering. It's so nice to see children so talented, so brilliant, but it is the same kids we see there as patients with brain tumors, with cancers. You see so many of them with masks because they have to be protected from infection because they are going through high dose of chemotherapy. The whole hospital is flooded with a lot of children, but each one of them going through different problems. And the message that comes to us so strongly is how blessed we are, how lucky we are that we have this good health. You know, we have two categories of children in a hospital. One who come to the medical ward and one who come to the surgical ward. The one who comes to the medical ward are generally who come with a lot of problems. You know, you will understand this by a discussion I overheard, two little children in a ward talking to each other. One boy was asking the other boy, "Are you from pediatric medicine or from pediatric surgery?" So the other boy said, "How would you know if you're from pediatric medicine or pediatric surgery?" And so the boy who was there for a little longer explained, "See, in pediatric medicine, you come to hospital very sick and then you become okay. Whereas in pediatric surgery, you come well and then you become sick." That is our job. That's why children don't like us. You know, the children come to us well. They have to undergo a surgical procedure because they are harboring some problem within their body, and they themselves are not so aware of the seriousness of what the problem is. The parents know, the family know, but that little child has no idea what that little child is going through surgery. And on the day of surgery, you know, a painful moment is when the parents hand over the child to the doctors, and we have to take the little struggling one, and we ourselves would look as terrorists wearing a cap and a mask, taking it to the cold operating room. Now, if you have to understand the situation, you have to be that little child who's taken away from the mother into a cold operating room. The child will feel a certain sense of abandonment. You know, why are my parents subjecting me to so much torture? They have put me into a strange place, and here is somebody holding a gas mask and somebody with a needle. You know, the child will feel this is a torture chamber. But all of us know that it is the healing room. It is an operating room where some disease, it may be a cancer, it may be something else, is being removed. And some wise person, a great master who came and watched the whole operation, he says, every difficulty that we go through is like divine surgery. And when we go through it, we are like little children. We are not able to see the whole picture. And therefore, somebody has said so beautifully, when you win, you win. When you lose, you learn, and therefore you win. If you look back into your lives, and if you see some of the most difficult moments, it is these difficult moments, if you have really learned from those moments, you are no longer going to be the same person. And therefore, in fact, we learn more from the difficulties than from the good things in our life. In a school like this, we see good things. In a hospital, what we learn is how blessed we are, how lucky we are. You know, whenever you feel so blessed, the next thing is how I can make the most of the goodness of my life, how I can share this blessing. And to share this, the only thing that we can do is to change our attitudes. And one of the most powerful attitudes that I would like to share is, remember one thing, you can never be grateful and miserable at the same time, can you? And therefore, whenever you are grateful, you are happy. the attitude of gratitude puts you in a place when you are happy, and a happy person is a blessing to the world. And as parents, in some way, if we can replicate the environment where we saw in our own homes. We are all in Karnataka. We were supposed to have 2 actors in the stage, so certain thoughts came. What is Karnataka? Karnataka. All we have to do is act. And as parents, we have to do a good act. Now, parenting is one of the most difficult professions. It demands a lot of skill. I know the skill of a neurosurgeon, I know the skill of great musicians, but I know parenting is an even more difficult skill. Let me tell you, sometimes if you don't do well as parenting, you may have successes in any other fields, but not in parenting. Don't be too discouraged. Let us work on it. I'm reminded of a story where a little boy was telling his papa, tell me a story, tell me a story. And the father couldn't think of any story. And sometimes when the child forces you, you make up a story. So the father made up a story. And the made up story was this: there was a worm, he said. And the boy got excited. What happened? He said, this worm got up early in the morning and started crawling. And the worm did not know about the early bird. The early bird came and picked up that worm. There was another worm, the father said. And the boy excitedly looked up what happened to the other worm. Lazy fellow, 11 o'clock, he was still sleeping. A boy came to play and he saw a worm sleeping. He took a big stone and crushed it. And the boy who's heard all stories with morals, he says, Papa, but what is the moral of the story? So the father says, either way you lose. That is the story about parenting, parents. Not a difficult job. We try to do our best as parents, but we make only 2 mistakes, and that is enough. We make errors of omission. What is errors of omission? I'm so busy with my work and my pressure of my work because I'm an important person, and I don't have those glorious moments. Whether, with choice or without choice, I'm not there when my child is really growing up. These are errors of omission. And more mothers have that sense of guilt, especially if you're an accomplished mother, if you have a good job, and you can't leave the job and you miss on the glory of the growth of your child. This is one error. But I will tell you, it is a lesser error. These are errors of omission. There are greater errors, especially for the more accomplished people. I know this hall is full of accomplished people. The big errors accomplished people do are errors of commission. We impose ourselves on our children. Instead of allowing them to be themselves, we are so concerned about their well-being. We are so concerned that they perform well and do whatever. Unconsciously, in the available time, we impose ourselves so much. Let me tell you a story. This is a story of a little boy. This is a story for the children also. I'm sure you'll like this story. The little boys. There was a little boy who loved his dog very much. And when the dog fell sick, nobody else in the family cared too much about the dog, so he had to personally take the dog to a veterinarian. And one thing, if you have pets, you know that veterinarians can be more expensive than human doctors. And he had to spend all the money he had to get a little bit of medicine for his sick dog. And there in the vet's clinic, the medicine was administered very easily because these people know how to give medicines to a dog. They administer. The real challenge comes when he comes home, how to give that medicine to the sick dog. So the boy tried. He had no help. So he opened the bottle. He brought the dog close to him, opened the mouth of the dog, poured that bitter medicine into the mouth of the dog. The moment the medicine touched the lip of the dog struggled so much, it knocked off that bottle, and all the medicine was on the floor. Now the boy was really upset. And in his upset, he began to say all the words that his parents would normally use on him. And as he was washing his hands on the wash basin, he was amazed to see the dog was actually licking the medicine from the floor. Parents, you will know one thing. Children don't refuse our medication. They refuse it the way we push it down their throat. Are you ready for a small test on parenting? A little test, be little, the children are far away. They will see how you fare as parents. be sporting, just take part in the test. Keep your hands in front of you, and I want you to watch me very closely, all right? Play this game very sincerely and follow my instructions. The instructions are very simple, and I'm going very quickly. I don't want you to miss the instruction. The instruction is very simple. Okay, are you there with me? Children, if you want, you can take part too. Keep your hands in front of you. Ready? A loud clap at the count of 5, and I'm going very quickly. I want you to watch me very closely. I'm going very quickly. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You have passed. Dear parents, are children more likely to follow instructions? Are children more likely to follow actions? You will see that. Your authenticity of your words come from who is speaking. If it comes from the depths of truth, if it comes from who you are, children can easily see through whenever there is a disparity between what you live and what you profess to them. And therefore, part of it is how you deal with each other, how you relate to each other, especially in front of children. See, you have to be the best mannered in front of your children, because the children can easily see through. And in all relationship, there are wounds, there will be some hurts. And just see this story, because these stories convey far more truths than anything else. This is a story, I'm just trying to recollect the story and try to give you the impact. Now, it's not a story. It's sometimes, it happens to us. Sometimes it happens, your own teeth bites your own tongue. Now, when your own teeth has bitten your own tongue, you have somebody in you who's hurt and somebody in you who's hurting. And because your teeth has bitten your tongue, will you be so angry with your teeth for having bitten your tongue? And then you will tell your teeth now, come on, I'll take you to a dentist and give you a nice drilling. You won't do that. Why? Because the teeth is you and the tongue is you. The more we understand, although there are differences, although we are different, we are actually one. The more you realize, even though there is somebody who's hurting and somebody who's hurt, we are able to reconcile because the teeth is me, the tongue is also me. The more as we as parents realize that although we are different, there may be moments when one has hurt the other. And whenever we have that wound of hurt, and if I feel that, I need to take back, then I have made a distinction that we are two. The more we realize as parents, although he or she has hurt me and that wound is there, but if I have that bigness of that oneness, as a family, I am one. There is no separate teeth, a separate person who has hurt me, and there is a separate person who is wounded. The more we see that sense, then there is no keeping scores. There is no opportunity to settle scores. And then when there is no resentment in your mind, there is no hurt, then you build a beautiful family, and you're able to build like exactly what Bishop Cottons is trying to do in education. Can you repeat after me? This is a powerful message. Hurt and upset, whether justified or not, is always self-damaging. And therefore, if there is a hurt or there is a wound, we have to find our own ways to be able to heal it so that, I'm not hurt. When my tongue is bitten by my teeth, then what do? Ouch, I swallow it. Whom to complain? When there is no ego, when there is no two separate people, when the two have become one, and that is when there is no hurt, there is no upset, you're able to resolve it by yourself. And then you are in the best frame of to bringing up children, the attitude of gratitude. You're so blessed. And keep this in the mind all the time, that I have this attitude of gratitude. And the more you bring this attitude of blessing, Gautama Buddha had said something very special. He says, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, which you do regularly, become your habit. Watch your habits, it becomes your character. Watch your character, that leads to your destiny. And then he makes a powerful statement. He says, change your thoughts. Change your thoughts means from how unlucky I am to how lucky I am. Change your thoughts, change your destiny. And your destiny will prove just by acting. Karnataka, by doing acting as happy people. Kabir has said, fake it before you make it. Finally, one story for parents. You know, as I said, there is really no guidelines how to bring up parents, how to bring up children. But one great Indian master has given a form of a Hindi poem, and I would like to see how it will come out. I hope I will be able to get the words right. You know, some of those children brought out that crocodile and the dentist, and each of those poems so beautifully. And you know, as adults, you have difficulty in bringing out these poems. Let's hope it comes out well. In Hindi, it says, Pujaye Panchavarshaye. Until the age of 5, bring up the child as if it is God in your home. Give the child all the love, all the security. Treat the child as if it is God, so that the child is welcome into this world. The child needs to be felt loved. Then the transition, the moment the child goes to school. Dhandaye Dashavarshe. From the age of 6 to the age of 16, bring the child in the vicinity of the stick, because that is the only window period you can have discipline. And for most of you, your children here are in that age group. But some of you may have older children, so this message comes to you too. It says, Prapte Shodasha Samsare Putram Mitram Achale. The moment your child, boy or girl, becomes 16, he or she is no longer to be treated like a child, but to be treated like a friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Thimmappa Hegde, for those words. Extremely thought-provoking. Thank you, sir. William Wordsworth was a major English Romantic poet who helped launch the Romantic age in English literature. Daffodils, a lyric poem, is one of his most famous works. We now have Andrew Kuriakose, Ezra Samuel, and Sauresh Rao reciting for us Daffodils.
Daffodils by William Wordsworth.
I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze.
Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretch in never-ending lines along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in a sprightly dance.
The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought.
For often, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils.
Thank you.
English music duo formed by members George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley in 1981. Wham sold more than 28 million certified records worldwide from 1982 to 1986. One of their most popular hits was Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, which rose to the top of the charts around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the Junior School Choir with Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. As we continue to recognize academic excellence, may I request Srimati Sujata to kindly give away the awards for the standard ranks and students of Standard 3.
Special prizes for academic excellence. Standard 1. First in standard, first in section and Kannada prize, Siddharth Dilip. First in standard and first in section, Peter Gideon G. First in standard and first in section, Sherwin Laban. First in standard and first in section, Peter Gideon G. First in standard and first in section, Arav Anil Astekar. He also gets the Hindi prize and the scripture prize. Standard 2, first in standard, first in section and Kannada prize, Manish Sainath R.